Alright, welcome back everyone to my aquarium. If you saw last week's channel, I kind of went over this tank, everything in it, kind of plans for it. So I'm giving an update because I finally got everything to do my DIY CO2 system. So I'm going to show that off and talk a little bit about it. Alright, so I first want to show off that it is producing a nice stream of bubbles from the diffuser. I don't know if there should be more, but at this point I'm just glad that it's doing something because I was really nervous that the diffuser wasn't working. And I'll show everything else. So yeah, this is the DIY CO2 setup. This I I followed some other videos on how to do this, some other guides, so I can link those below, so I can show you what I reference, and I'll just talk about my setup right here. So I use this Arizona tea jug to do the reaction in with the yeast and sugar. The only reason I chose this, something bigger aside from something smaller like I don't know, 2 liter bottle, um, is just because I wanted it to be able to stand up and not get knocked over easily. And this is just because I don't really want it down here at all. And I didn't have a good place to put it. I don't really have like a stand or a setup that I can kind of just hide it behind, because I have this, it's like in, well, my messy kitchen, because our cat knocked down some stuff. But yeah, so this is how I made it. This is how it looks, and I'll show some of the things that I used for it and some of the other parts. So for the glue, so I drilled a hole in so that I could push. I used these little elbow tees because I wanted to be able to disconnect and connect the tubing. I didn't want just straight tubing to the diffuser, so that's why I have these little elbow tees. So when I'm watching everyone else's videos, a lot of the time they were, poking holes in and then sliding the tube through and then using some silicone sealant, which makes a really good seal, but that doesn't happen that way with these. So, and I had a really hard time. I was using just this regular, I was using a white silicone sealant. So I was using this and it wasn't actually sticking to the plastic very well. So I had to come up with another method. So I had this, it's called Titebond, sitting around. It's a multi-surface glue. So I actually used that to seal the inside crease, and I just put a bunch of that around, and then I used silicone on top, and that seemed to, oh wait, no, I did it the opposite way. I used the silicone on the inside, and then I used the glue on top. The glue was good at adhering to this plastic and also the silicone, and the silicone makes a really good tight seal. It takes a while for this stuff to kind of cure and to kind of set. So, but it's nice on the outside, and you should wait 24 hours, but I just waited about 6 hours, and it got, mostly cured, and it wasn't touching water, so I was fine with that. So there's that part. This is kind of like half of what I wanted to do. This is the other parts that I didn't actually use. So right now, this doesn't have a one-way, a gauge valve, so that if anything happens, it could potentially back up, but I don't think that's going to happen just because of how this is set up. This was the other part that I was going to do. Sometimes I was told that this can create some, some foam or residue, so that's what this bottle was going to be for, was to be able to kind of filter out some of that residue and also be like a bubble counter. So it goes through I can kind of show it maybe if I blow through. So yeah, you can see the bubbles coming through the water. It essentially goes down through this tube here, down into this bottle, and then out through this tubing here, into the one-way valve. So that was one part of it. And then I also, and I'm not actually certain if I will need this anytime in the future just because of how things, but this was just a gauge that you can tighten. You can either reduce flow or you can increase flow just by turning that little valve there. So yeah, when you turn the little valve, it helps. And I wanted that just in case this created enough pressure. But the thing is, like, this is not a pressurized cylinder, so actually it doesn't seem to create that much pressure. So that seemed fine. And then I'll talk about this diffuser. So I wanted one of the things I was running into is I didn't have a way to count bubbles aside from using this using the bottle. So that's why I got this spiral bubble filter. I still don't know how well it works. This was about $13. It was like spendier than probably some of the other ones, but honestly, if you have, if you want a diffuser, I would say just go with a regular one. Like, this is really not necessarily worth it. And some of the reviews said that this was really bad. And I'll just talk about that really quickly. So I think it says to soak it for 48 hours. And I'm still not certain if that was the problem here, because a lot of diffusers you only have to soak for about an hour, 30 minutes, is what I'm told. So I don't know about that. The thing that I had a problem with is it took a long time to build up pressure. It took me a long time to actually set up the CO2 system, because I kept having leaks and I didn't know that I needed to add kind of the extra glue until it wasn't producing any bubbles like it is now. This only happened yesterday. I got everything set up yesterday, so last night it finally started producing bubbles like that. And that's also why this is not attached. I don't want to lose any of the pressure, and but I might just go for it and attach this. But this I did after I did this part, because it just took a little while longer. And so that's why this isn't connected to there, because I just was making sure that this would actually produce bubbles, and I still don't know how it's going to work with the pressure. So I was kind of like, the next time I have to make a solution of this, I'll check that out. And I'll show a little bit. So I'll finish this. So that's it on the diffuser. Works well. The spiral could possibly help count bubbles. But like, you can see it's producing, like, you can see the tiny bubbles, but you can actually not see any air, just like any small bubbles coming up through there. But maybe if it's going faster, that might change. So I don't think I'm getting that much CO2. I'll go back and show the other the sensor I have, or the CO2 gauge that I have in my aquarium. So just back to this. Yeah, it took a while. I am worried that if I connect it to here, it's going to have to build up pressure. You can actually see how, like, bowed this bottle is because of the pressure, and I'm actually quite surprised, and it hasn't blown up, which is good. So I would maybe recommend, if you're doing something like this, you may only want to fill it like halfway. And the only reason I'm using this is so that it stands up and isn't easily knocked over, but it is very, very pressurized, which is the most concerning thing to me. So yeah, that's all that set up. I wanted to go and just show you that it's creating bubbles. I have this sponge filter, which a lot of people are concerned, if they have bubblers going, that it's going to take out the CO2 from the water. I have this little CO2 gauge, which it was blue when I was before I put in the CO2 maker. And this is on the complete opposite side of my tank, and I wanted to do this just to make sure that it was getting all the way over. And you can see now that you can almost not tell because my tank is so green that it is a green color. And green in this, it's not yellow, which is good. Green just means that you have a sufficient and normal type of CO2. I just put this here because I didn't, quite know how to read this, so until I get used to how it reads. So yeah, I was here and now it's here with the CO2 diffuser, so that works. So yeah, I guess overall it was possibly easier. I hope people maybe learn something from this, if they want to make it themselves. I bought like a pack of these. Yeah, pretty much the only thing I bought really was these elbows, the diffuser, the airline tubing, the gauge valves. All of these things you can get for like packs for like $5 or something. Some of it was more. I think this dispendious thing I think was the diffuser. I can put everything that I got in the description, as well as like the tutorials I followed to set everything up. And yeah, I would say it's a lot easier if you are worried about making a DIY CO2 system. I'd say if you have extra airline tubing, you have some silicone glue or want to purchase silicone glue, and I would definitely recommend getting another multi-purpose glue, because if for some reason the like poking the hole and putting the airline through doesn't work, it's good to do something else. And I would really recommend getting like some fitting so you can unhook the tubing so that you can adjust it as needed. But yeah, if you have some of that stuff lying around, you have like an extra jug, I would say totally go for it. Then the only thing you'd really be investing in is a diffuser like this. And there's a lot out there. I would say there's a few that seem to work better, but the ceramic ones seem fine. I know you have to clean them, but I would just say if you're getting a diffuser, just like go for a cheap one, and you should be fine. If you don't think you're gonna use something like this, that could help with bubble counting. I just don't know how well, so I guess go crazy and try it out. But yeah, that's like everything about my CO2 system. As I said last time, that I'm working on this algae problem. I did the hydrogen peroxide treatments. I'll talk about that real quick before I end the video, but I did hydrogen peroxide treatments on this for 1 week, which worked really well. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. And the only thing I really noticed, like, it helped reduce some of the algae. The thing I noticed the most was I've always had a hard time getting, when this algae grows on the glass, getting it off. It was very easy to scrape off. So I'm not sure if I will, I'm probably not going to treat as intensely as I did treat it, but, I will see maybe like once a week just doing some spot treatment with it. The good thing is if you have like a pipette or anything, I have, a ton lying around. You can just spot treat, or if you have a little syringe, that also helps. And really, I think, I can't remember what I said in the video that how much I was treating, but if you have like 5 milliliters in a tank like this, it's just 15-gallon, considering this is mostly all filled. Yeah, you'll be good. So yeah, that's it. And I hope everyone enjoys the video, and I'll be trying to upload next week.